Tonight, a man from this province has been sentenced for murder in Toronto. That story and...
My colleagues and I are looking forward to actually getting back in the House of Assembly to bring those issues and concerns forward that we hear from people all over Newfoundland and Labrador.
With the House of Assembly set to reopen on Monday, provincial politicians say their priorities remain the same despite the Premier's resignation.
The best part of me is be with the team.
Everybody deserves awards. Everybody will get there eventually.
Next stop, Italy. 2 Gander athletes will represent this province on the international stage.
She wanted to speak to me on the phone. She said she had something that had belonged to my grandmother and she had been looking for a relative.
One Corner Brook woman receives a piece of history that brings her closer to her late grandmother.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. We begin with news from the courts. A man from this province was sentenced in Toronto earlier today for killing a teenager on a subway platform almost 2 years ago. Jordan O'Brien Tobin was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 18 years. He previously pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. In March 2023, O'Brien Tobin repeatedly stabbed a 16-year-old boy in the chest. The violent attack was unprovoked and seemingly random. The 22-year-old has a lengthy criminal history with almost 200 convictions on his record, both in Ontario and in this province. In other news, trial dates are expected to be set on Monday for a court case that challenges the results of the 2021 provincial election. Now, that election had to shift to mail-in voting at the last minute due to a COVID-19 outbreak. Former PC MHA Jim Lester was one of 3 candidates who lost by a slim margin and launched the challenge. Lester alleges that some voters never received a ballot or voted in the wrong district, leading to fewer votes for him.
The local government was cautioned by the federal committee that there should not have been an election during the pandemic without legislative amendment because of the challenges that a pandemic posed. So, there were people in my district and throughout the province that, their right to vote and democracy was compromised because their inability or barriers to them accessing ballots and exercising that right.
Well, the province's politicians are preparing to head back into the legislature next week for what will be the longest session of the year. Their priorities, they say, remain the same, with a focus on the cost of living and health care. Jenna Head reports.
This building will be a little busier next week. Monday marks day 1 in what is scheduled to be a 3-month sitting in the House of Assembly. With lots of legislation and a budget to pass, a Liberal leadership race bound to take place, and a writ yet to drop.
It's going to be a different dynamic in the House, and I think it's going to change a lot of how things are going to conduct over the spring sitting.
Housing, cost of living, and Labrador affairs are top issues for the 2-person provincial NDP. Some of their talking points won't be new, like preparedness for potential Labrador wildfires.
We are going to be in a high fire index, and we need to make sure that everything is available.
I would like to have my water bomber back. That would be a great step forward, is to give us back our water bomber that was in Labrador West since the 80s.
As for other issues, Brown says patience is wearing thin in Labrador West when it comes to the rising cost of living. But the PC party says that's high on their list of priorities too.
My colleagues and I are looking forward to actually getting back in the House of Assembly to bring those issues and concerns forward that we hear from people all over Newfoundland and Labrador.
In the past, the PCs have regularly criticized the provincial Liberals' Fury-focused branding. While their taunts of the Fury Liberals may need to change with the Premier stepping down, party leader Tony Wakeham says the criticism will stay the same.
It doesn't matter who's at the helm, because it's the same Liberal government that we have that has brought us those challenges as a province, and we will continue to go after them to make sure those issues get addressed.
House Leader and Health Minister John Hogan says the Liberals' priority for this session is presenting and debating the budget and passing legislation.
One or two I think will be interesting from the Minister of Justice and Public Safety, dealing with a new law enforcement oversight commission and complaints process.
As for his own portfolio, Hogan says there's ongoing work to be done. That's not just tied to legislation.
Things are moving in the right direction, and I certainly hope when we get questions in the House about it, I want to speak to how we're moving in the right direction.
Hogan is also one of 3 Liberal MHAs who have voiced interest in becoming this province's next premier. And that race for the Liberal leadership will be another development to watch throughout this upcoming session of the House of Assembly. Jenna Head, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, Premier Andrew Furey's surprise resignation caused some speculation about his political future. And as Furey told Power and Politics host David Cochrane, he hasn't ruled out a career on the federal stage down the road.
Well, look, politics, as you know, David, is entrenched in my family. It's something that has been a part of my life since I was a kid. My first campaign was for my uncle in the Great Northern Peninsula when I was in grade 7. It's been an active part of my life and my family's life, and if opportunities present themselves in the future, then I'll certainly have a look.
That sounds like a yes. You're thinking about it. You're looking at it.
Put that to.
Well, hard work is paying off for 2 athletes from central Newfoundland. They're about to head to an international competition in Europe. Troy Turner brings us that story.
Countless hours of training here at the Airport Nordic Ski Club this winter have paid off for Johnny Philpott and Michael Harris. They'll head to Italy next week to put their skills to the test at the Special Olympics World Winter Games.
I'm looking forward to meeting people from different countries and getting their take on what it's like to be at that level.
My best part of me is be with the team and Chinaman. Good because they have to train hard and keep it up and all that.
Both Gander athletes will be competing in snowshoeing. Harris is a sprinter and Philpott does middle distance. They will be joined on the national team by Colin Rumbold from Labrador West, a cross-country skier. For their coach at the Gander Wings Special Olympics team, it's a well-deserved achievement.
To see the results that they've been able to achieve on the world stage, on the national stage, and now going to be displaying that on the world stage is a tremendous.
While Harris will compete at a World Games for the second time, it's a first for Philpott. Both earned the right to compete in Italy following strong showings at the provincial and national games.
A team and helping each other out and making sure that we're there for each other. Coaching is phenomenal. It's one of the best clubs in the world, and our coaches are just next level.
And their community support is also strong. About 100 people showed up at a special send-off for the athletes last night.
Those past 2 years where I've been running with you, helping push you guys are definitely ready for this. And Michael, congrats on this being your second time. And Johnny, I know you've been working your entire life for this. And now you get to do it. So congratulations, guys.
60 athletes train with the Gander Wings. And to see 2 of their own compete at an international level benefits the whole club.
Johnny and Michael now are, they're role models in our club for our younger athletes. To see people with intellectual disability to be given this opportunity and this platform to show their capabilities does a lot to boost their self-esteem. It raises their quality of life, and then that enhances the community. Because when the community comes out and sees what our athletes are able to do, then our athletes are more included.
Everybody deserves a Worlds. Everybody will get there eventually. The coaches will be working with them to get them everywhere. It's just be supportive of each other. Your coaches will be there when you want them, when you need them.
Harris and Philpott will leave for Italy this Sunday to prep for the World Games, which begin March 8th and wrap up 1 week later with the closing ceremonies. Troy Turner, CBC News, Gander.
Well, still with sports, Brad Guzju and Mark Nichols will begin the chase for their third straight Brier tonight. The tournament begins this evening in Kelowna, BC. Guzju and company won the tournament last year, so they'll compete as Team Canada and face Team Newfoundland and Labrador at 11 p.m. Island time. Guzju and his team have won 5 of the last 7 Brier championships. Well, as the province is preparing to give more children access to school lunches, one nonprofit is looking for ways to support that expansion. School meals will be made available to every pre-kindergarten to grade 9 student over the next few years. Food First NL is now looking for input from students and parents as the group works with the province to implement a school lunch program. In September, the province was the first to sign an agreement with the federal government to give more than 4,000 students access to a hot lunch.
People are only just now kind of wrapping their heads around the fact that every student from pre-K to grade 9 is going to be getting a lunch, and that is a really transformational thing in people's lives. It's also really transformational for the food system, for people who are producing food, cooking food, and I think people need to start thinking, if they're in a community that doesn't yet have a lunch program, think about whether you want to start one. If you are in a community, for example, that doesn't yet have a school lunch program, but maybe you're a chef who has a summer summer seasonal restaurant, you should start thinking about whether you want to work with people to start a nonprofit that would then provide those school meals, because there's going to be money for equipment, there's going to be support for starting these organizations up.
Well, a set of antique spoons is bringing back old memories for one Corner Brook woman, but the spoons aren't just a piece of Tara Manuel's family history, they're also a tiny part of Canadian history. The CBC's Amy Fian has more.
This small letter in Tara Manuel's hands was written by her grandmother over 50 years ago. But it wasn't until last year that she learned it existed, when she was contacted by the former head of household, of none other than one former prime minister.
She wanted to speak to me on the phone. She said she had something that had belonged to my grandmother, and she had been looking for a relative.
Along with the letter, Manuel received this set of antique spoons, dating back to 1890.
So it turns out that my Granny Manuel sent a set of beautiful silver spoons as a wedding gift to Pierre and Margaret Trudeau in 1971 when they were married.
Her grandmother, Mary Manuel, seen here on her Newfoundland passport, was a big fan of the former Prime Minister. And so she sent a gift to congratulate him and his then new bride on their marriage.
I'm so happy for you both that he came along. I am not up on my Emily post, so do not know if it is the correct thing to send a wedding gift to people you don't really know. But I've been in love with Pierrot ever since I watched him on TV the night he was elected leader of the party.
But Mary Manuel also made one thing very clear in her letter.
But remember, she warns, they are for the Trudeaus, not to be left at 24 Sussex Drive if the government changes hands.
And Margaret Trudeau listened. After leaving 24 Sussex Drive for good in 1984, she took the spoons with her and later gifted them to a friend. And now, after another 4 decades, that same friend reached out to Tara Manuel to return them.
How lovely to have them come full circle, to come back to our family, and also to have that letter, because it imparts so much of Granny's personality.
Tara Manuel doesn't remember much about her grandmother, who moved to Toronto when Tara was still a child, but she does remember her being quite the character.
But I do remember she had a sense of humor as well. So I think she was the kind of woman that we might call difficult, and I do hope to carry on the tradition of difficult Manuel women, and I intend to be a difficult old lady myself.
And getting the spoons back after all these years, Manuel says it helps her feel more connected to her grandmother.
When you receive something like this, it kind of brings back your ancestor to life, gives you a sense of the person they were when they were alive. So, and it kind of was a delight for the whole family. So, of course, I shared the letter and shown everyone the pictures of the spoons.
And Tara Manuel says she wants to share the spoons even further by donating them to here at the Corner Brook Museum and Archives, so that everyone can learn more about her grandmother's story. Amy Fian, CBC News, Corner Brook.
Well, we've seen another warm up for most of the island today. Some snow also in the mix there, but we're going to continue to see this rain push further east as we head through tonight. Quiet start to tomorrow, but things will change as we head into the evening and into Sunday when another warm up is coming. I'll get all of the details coming up a little later.
Well, a high school improv troupe from CBS has just been crowned provincial champions, and that win also means they'll be hitting the national stage in April to represent the province at the Canadian Improv Games. The Kings Jesters gave a taste of their talent on CBC Radio's St. John's Morning Show.
What kind of prompt would you guys like? What works? Or how about your teacher throw out a prompt?
Did we want to do
Miss King?
a story scene, Miss King?
Oh, yeah?
Story.
A story
That one
scene?
would be
Okay.
good. Me and Danica are usually the narrators for a story event, which is a...
Okay.
Yeah. You want to give us a theme, Miss King?
Your relationship is snail and flower.
Snail and flower. Okay.
So we start. Once upon a time, there was a snail and his lovely flower, and he just loved this flower so very much.
He loved him so much that the snail had watched the flower, had been there when the seed was planted, and has watched him grow this entire time. Wow, the flower, it's growing.
It's growing.
And the
even
snail
taller than
watches
before.
the flower longingly, thinking how beautiful it is, and how much he just enjoys his company as it blows in the wind.
Man, I remember when you were first a seed. Remember first when your owner planted you. I remember you being a seed. Now you're growing up to being such a big, beautiful flower.
I don't. I was a baby.
You still are a baby.
Yeah.
Who knew? Who knew a flower could grow up so quickly?
But suddenly, a child comes along and picks up the flower.
And the snail is so devastated by this event.
No, my only friend. No.
No, I'm being picked away.
No. My only friend.
And the snail is just devastated, but he figures that it was great to have him in his life for how long he did than to never have had him at all. And he goes around in a garden in someone's backyard, some old man who doesn't take care of his garden, and he helps plant other flowers to remind him of his best friend.
One seed there, one seed there, and one seed everywhere. Now this garden's going to look beautiful because that old man do not know how to take care of his garden.
And scene.
Yay.
Yay. Good job, folks.
Okay, well, from one success story to another, a new bakery is bringing a taste of Morocco to downtown St. John's. Casablanca Bakery opened on Bond Street last year with cakes, falafel, and baklava. We stopped by for a visit.
Hi, my name is Lamia Shrifi. Welcome to Casablanca Bakery. Here we make baklava, which is our main product, and we supply all the local sobis here in St. John's. We also make other products like bread. We have sourdough bread, which is our most popular bread. It's all made from scratch with natural starter. And also we have a lot of pastries. We have millefeuille. Some people call it Napoleon. And also we have cakes, and we are going also making viral the white chocolate, cups, anything you will enjoy. Also we make shawarma. We have falafel for those who they are vegan. And also we have gluten-free options as well. I am from Morocco. The city is called Meknes, which is the heart of the country. And I moved here, it's been 5 years, over 5 years right now. Me and my husband, when we moved here to St. John's, it was a little bit difficult for me to find a job during the pandemic. And I decided to open my own business. It was a little bit difficult as a start. I was actually, that was last year in May, I was very pregnant. I was 8 months. Pregnant, just like, okay, I'm just gonna do it and see how it's gonna go. I want to introduce Moroccan food and Moroccan culture here in St. John's, and also there is a demand from our customers. People like our product, that's what makes us more happy and keep us going as well.
Well, it was lovely here in the east, but out west and in central, it was a pretty wet day, right?
Yeah, it felt very spring-like though today. Lots of people mentioning that to me this afternoon. But yes, rain, especially for the South Coast. Let's take a look at the numbers from the last little bit. For St. Albans, you picked up 45.3 millimeters of rain. The Head Bay Despair, about 43.5. Burgeo, the town picked up 31.6 millimeters of rain, but you saw a little bit more up towards the highway. And then Port aux Basques picked up 19.6 millimeters of rain. Now it is starting to head east as we speak. In behind that, though, this afternoon, a little bit of snow fell for the parts of the west coast and the interior, but that has since ended. And we'll just continue to see this rain move further east. Now, there's still a rainfall warning in place for the Canaveral Peninsula. I anticipate that that will end as we head through the next several hours. But the wind warning is still in place across the Avalon. And again, winds this afternoon were quite strong, topped out anywhere from 80 to even 111 kilometers per hour for the Bonavista Peninsula. But if we take a look at the numbers now, they've certainly started to come down. Argentia seeing wind gusts as high as 87 kilometers per hour down to about 63 in St. John's. And this should be about it. So I anticipate that warning will end as well. So let's take a look at what's going on. That rain will continue to head further east. So the Avalon will start to see that rain over the next hour or so. And we could see some periods of heavy rain before that ends as we head through the midnight hour. But the west coast, you're going to continue to see some flurries as we head through tonight, maybe even some light snow, which could accumulate to 2, maybe 5 centimeters, particularly in the higher elevations, but that is certainly possible. And then we've got some snow and blowing snow still possible for those of you along the coast of Labrador, particularly around the Makkovik area. But the weather, like I said, will improve by the time we get into tomorrow morning. We'll see a little bit of cloud cover, generally cloudy through the day across the island. As we head into the afternoon, though, we'll likely see a few breaks in that cloud cover, but this is all ahead of our next system that is going to move in, bringing some snow as we head through the evening hours on Saturday. But this will quickly change over to some rain as we see some milder air move in again. Labrador, you're going to see some flurries or light snow from this as well. That will happen through the overnight and into early Sunday morning. And then that rain right across the province as we head into Sunday morning. We will wake up to that essentially for the eastern portion of the island. There's not much left to fall now. We could pick up another trace to 5 millimeters, maybe some pockets of a little higher than that, particularly along the southern Avalon. But that is pretty much about it with this system. Anyway, like I said, we'll see some more of that as we head into Sunday. So temperatures will continue to drop as we head through tonight, minus single digits in the east, minus double digits for the west, northern peninsula. You'll hover around minus 16 in St. Anthony tonight. And again, those winds out of the west or northwest, somewhere between 20 to as much as 50 or even 60 kilometers per hour. Now, extreme cold warning in place for those of you in Lab West. Your temperatures tonight will sit around minus 34, but your wind chills, especially through the overnight and into early tomorrow morning, will feel more like the minus 40s. And we will see that cold air for most of Labrador tonight into the minus 20s, even Nain at about minus 28. With those winds along the coast anyway, will be gusting around 60 kilometers per hour. So your wind chills tonight will be fairly cold. Here's your temperatures for tomorrow. We're going to see much colder air than we saw today. However, temperatures will be hovering around the 0 degree mark, just a little bit below for most of the Avalon. The winds in the morning will be a little bit brisk, but as the afternoon rolls through, we will see those winds ease. That will be the case for the west coast as well. But again, you'll see some snow late day. Move in and minus single digits, minus double digits for the northern peninsula. That will be the story for southeastern Labrador as well, with some sunshine, but those clouds will move in and you will see some snow move in as well. Overall, the coldest temperatures will be named, where you will actually sit this out. Really, the north coast will. Temperatures between -19 and -24 as your daytime highs. So, like I said, another warm up on the way for Sunday, and then again next week. I'll talk about that coming up a little later.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, this next story is for lovers of local music. CBC Radio's Weekend AM has created the ultimate Newfoundland and Labrador playlist of the last 25 years. So whether you're Labrador to the core or part of the worst crowd, this quarter-century look back is sure to bring back some memories.
It's the year 2000, and we kick off the new millennium with Y2K fears. That all turned out okay. Napster and digital music streaming starts to become a thing. So where are we in local music, guys?
Well, I mean, Sean Panting put out Lotus Land that year. Neil Conway put out The Kitchen Sessions, Jim Fiddler, Friendly Fire.
I felt like it was becoming a year for Great Big Sea because the New Year's party was downtown and they were headlining the show and they were becoming pretty big then.
What song did you choose for the year 2000?
Well, we finalized it to Damn It Doyle's album.
Hyperdramatic.
Hyperdramatic.
The song is Tattooed.
Don't know where you went and I began your tattoo.
I just remember it being played a lot on the radio.
Yeah. It's a great song, very well crafted, and Dabbit was really having a great, career at that time.
It's 2001, and the overwhelming moment for 2001 is, of course, September 11th, which we now know as 9/11, and of course, the repercussions for this province and for the world. But the bands played on. What was going on local music-wise in 2001?
That was the year that the songs from the shows, the Ryan's Fancy album, came out with all the songs from their CBC shows, and that was a huge deal for a lot of people.
Come along, let us put it out together.
Dead Reckoning came back with Time's Time. Trim Naval Beef, Gold Star.
The store I work at, under the counter, there's a sticker that says Trim Naval Beef, and one day I was like, what does that mean? And then I realized it's Pap Oil in the buys.
Like a Metro bus, baby, I'm dependable, cause I'm a gold star. Put it in your face.
So what song did you come up with for 2001?
We came up with the Ennis Sisters. It's Not About You.
It's not about you. I'm finally walking. I'm singing inside. I can't hear you talking.
That was all over the radio, and it really, it was one of those ones that stick in your head.
It's a no-brainer in a way that we gotta get them on the list.
2002. Oil and gas and the mining industry are really starting to take off in this province, so many people in Newfoundland and Labrador have a little bit more money to spend on things like music, going out to hear bands. Now, in Canada, Avril Lavigne hit the scene. That was the emergence of Avril Lavigne. But what was happening here this year? What songs and what music were you guys talking about for 2002?
Liz Band had Devotion, another amazing record.
Get along, get over it.
The Flummies, way back when. Great Big Sea, Sea of No Cares, which was another great record for them.
All right, so what song did you settle on then for 2002?
2002, Jacinda Beals, Labrador to the Core.
No matter where I ever go, from any hilltop to any shore, this is my home, I look no more. I am Labrador to the core.
When she put out Labrador to the Core, I think it just shone a light on how, there are so many proud Labradorians in addition to proud Newfoundlanders. Yeah. And it's like a theme song now.
It's 2003. Danny Williams is elected Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador. Canadian Idol hits televisions, and of course, Newfoundland and Labrador musicians do well on Canadian Idol. Now, what songs were you guys talking about?
Ron Hines' album, Get Back Change, came out.
Mark Bragg and the Black Wedding Band, the Reckless Kind. There's so many good records.
You say this one you guys got consensus on pretty quickly. So what did you pick?
We picked Brothers in Stereo, Worst Crowd, which I felt like was right away the obvious choice.
It was all on our tip of our tongue.
That's right.
Yeah.
Why do you hang around with the worst crowd? The worst crowd, yeah.
That was constantly on radio and TV.
Absolutely.
And I think that like they really knocked it out of the park with the music video as well, with them on the double-decker bus.
Yeah, and it had a hook to the
Super catchy song.
Yeah.
Super catchy song and a fun song.
fun song.
It's like really stayed relevant. Like I think with like something like, you know, jangle pop or, you know, if you want to call it like Brit pop, like whatever they were probably into has became popular again. So like a lot of people I know in our, like their 20s are listening to that song regularly. If like I go to a house party, that song is always played at least once. Like,
That's great.
And like everyone's kind of looking at it as like this like very cool like track that maybe when they were younger and heard it on the radio for like someone around my age, they didn't actually even realize it was a Newfoundland band because it kind of sounded like it could be like a British or like American band.
Yeah.
We're at 2004. Same-sex marriage becomes legal in several Canadian provinces, including Newfoundland and Labrador. The Rick Mercer Report debuts on CBC. What songs were you guys talking about in 2004 in Newfoundland and Labrador?
Great Big Sea, again with Something Beautiful.
Move along, I believe there's something beautiful to see. Move along.
When we hit this one, we went.
We ended up with the Irish Descendants, the song titled "Take Me Back to Ireland."
Take me back to Ireland, to the place I long to be.
Just a beautifully crafted song, a very nostalgic song.
What else would you add? You can email us, nl25playlist@cbc.ca. Thanks to Liam Ryan, Colleen Power, and Richie Perez for being our crack music panel.
Millions of Muslims mark the beginning of their holy month of Ramadan this evening. The Muslim community in this province is growing, and their association's new president, Haseen Khan, says they hope to celebrate the end of Ramadan in a new, bigger St. John's Mosque. Today is a big day. It's the beginning of Ramadan this evening. Can you talk about how important this, celebration is for the Muslim community?
It is a very special month for Muslims. It is a month of unlimited blessings. It is a month of annual training for Muslims to bring improvement in themselves. It is a month of transformation from ignorance to knowledge, transformation from darkness to light, transformation from being to address their shortcomings. So it is a very special month for Muslims. This month has a very high significance in the Quran. The most important thing, this month relays a very strong message of unity in our faith, because Muslims all over the world are observing the same practice in the same manner at the same time and for the same purpose, and that purpose is to seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to seek the pleasure of their Creator, to bring themselves closer to their Creator, at the same time also to bring themselves closer to His creation through acts of worship, through acts of generosity, through acts of forgiveness, compassion and empathy. So this month has a very special significance in Islamic calendar. So Muslims during this month, they fast from dawn to sunset, and at sunset time they break the fast, and then they go for special prayers to the mosque, that is to observe, to hear the recitation of the Holy Quran, because during the month we try to recite the entire Quran, and then after that they go home, they take some rest, and then they are up again early in the morning for this early morning breakfast, and after that they pray. And the most important thing is that we are supposed to continue with all routine activities of the day, while we are fasting.
And the Muslim population is really growing in this province. Can you talk about how many people are here who will be observing Ramadan this month?
It has been growing, and it has been growing exponentially. In Greater St. John's area, our estimate is there are about 8,000 Muslims. And in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, there are over 10,000 Muslims. So as you can see, the mosque is fully packed, and you will see this every day during morning prayers, during evening prayers, and the good news is that this mosque was too small to cater the needs of our growing congregation. So recently we have purchased a place, and hopefully that inshallah we will have a symbolic prayer during Ramadan, and we are getting that place ready to have Eid prayers.
So do you think that facility will be ready by the end of Ramadan?
We are working very hard because we have already decided as the Executive Committee of Manal that our Eid prayer will be at that place, because we could not find any other venue. So we had to work hard to get that place ready, and inshallah we will have our Eid prayer over there, and you are welcome to come.
That must be very exciting for you, because you have been in this mosque for a very long time, and as you say, it's not big enough to hold all of the people. How much bigger is this space?
It is really exciting, because the most exciting part is that all Muslims, inshallah, first time will be able to pray under one roof. The capacity of this mosque is about 500 people. The new place that can accommodate up to 2,500 people. So it is 5 times of the capacity of the current mosque.
So the Eid celebration sounds like it's going to be pretty spectacular.
It is going to be a highly spectacular. Yeah, it is going to be a very special event for 2 reasons. One, the celebration of the Eid, and second, the celebration of praying in our new mosque, the new house of Allah.
Well, some big international news unfolding today. U.S. President Donald Trump cut short a meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky after an explosive meeting in the Oval Office.
You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's back to you. Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once this entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you?
Well, Zelensky had planned to sign a deal to give the U.S. access to Ukraine's mineral industry, but the visit quickly devolved into a shouting match with Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance berating the Ukrainian president. Zelensky urged Trump to make no compromises with Russia. Trump and Vance accused the Ukrainian leader of being disrespectful. The heated exchange comes at a pivotal moment for Zelensky as he works to bolster U.S. support in his country's 3-year-long war with Russia. Zelensky departed early, and a planned news conference with the 2 leaders was canceled. The White House says the Ukraine delegation was asked to leave. Well, it's Friday, so let's find out who's celebrating. Wishing Francis and Jack Fox a happy 68th anniversary in Gander. Congratulations to Betty and Wilbur Moss on their 69th anniversary. Happy 60th anniversary to Ray and Eva Bungie of Harbour Breton. Best wishes to Jean and Ron Ackerman. They're marking 57 years of marriage. Happy 60th anniversary to Don and Ann Hyde in Outer Cove. They've been together for 60 years. Happy anniversary to John and Irene Hackett of Terrenceville, who are celebrating 57 years of marriage. Happy 60th anniversary to Doily and Ben Burridge from your family. Happy 73rd anniversary to Watson and Eliza Vivian of Hare Bay, now living in Gander. Congratulations to Roy and Geraldine Earle from Twillingate. It's their 58th anniversary. Anniversary greetings going out to Lily and Joe Clark of Bishop's Cove. They're marking 62 years of marriage. Happy 57th anniversary going out to Calvin and Annie Poole of St. Louis, Labrador. Wishing Stan and Madeline Knoll of Carbonear a happy 60th anniversary. Happy 60th anniversary also to Bruce and Hazel Jefford of Kelligrews. Now to some birthdays. Wishing Alfreda Howell a happy 90th birthday. Love from all her family and friends. Sister Brendan Lynch from Grand Falls, Windsor turned 94 this week. Hope you had a great birthday. Mary Jennings celebrates a milestone this week. She just turned 100 in Twillingate. Love from all of your family and friends. Happy birthday to Floyd Shears of Rocky Harbor, who just turned 93. Birthday wishes going out to Jean Rideout of Long Pond, Conception Bay South, who's turning 90. Wishing Susie Park a happy 91st birthday. Greetings from your family and friends. Happy 90th birthday to Eldridge Dumaresque of Lanceclair, Labrador. Another milestone birthday. Happy 100th birthday to Len Holloway from Corner Brook, now living in St. John's. Greetings from friends in Arizona. Happy 90th birthday today to Bronwyn Hewlett of Beaumont, now living in Grand Falls, Windsor. Birthday wishes going out to Bernadette Stamp. She turns 92 today. Happy birthday to Annie King of Clarenville, who's turning 93. Best wishes to Josephine Mooney of Brigus South, now living in St. John's. She's turning 100 on Wednesday. Happy birthday to Bill Hayter, who turns 93 tomorrow. Happy 96th birthday to Eileen Butt of Curling, Corner Brook, and wishing Winnie Cooney of Torbay a happy 91st birthday with love from all your family. And Winnie's late husband, Jim, was a longtime employee here at CBC. Another fine crowd. Congratulations once again. So let's have a look at the weather, and the roller coaster continues with the temperatures.
Yeah, it does. And then we're going to drop down a little bit to hang out in the minus single digits for a few days next week. But yeah, another warm up on the way after that. So let's take a look at what's going on until we get there. So Saturday evening, things are going to start to get a little bit unsettled, especially across the island. So we'll see some snow change quickly over to rain by the time we get into Sunday morning. Now, around the northern peninsula, southeastern Labrador, you're going to be right on that rain-snow line. So you may actually see some rain in the afternoon, depending on the exact track of the system. But up across most of Labrador, you'll be on the cold side of this. So you'll continue to see some snow as the day goes on. And then in behind that, as we've been seeing, much colder air will wrap around, changing that back over to snow by the time we get into Sunday evening for most of the west coast. The eastern half of the island still looking at rain. Now, daytime highs are going to be sitting somewhere between 4 to about 9 degrees through the day across the island, with the exception of the northern peninsula. You'll be hovering around the 0 degree mark. But again, there's a likelihood that you will see that change over to rain at some point in the afternoon. Labrador, minus single digits for the coast. Happy Valley Goose Bay, you'll hover around minus 17, but North Coast as well as Lab West, will sit this one out, and you'll sit in the minus 20s as the day goes on, along with some sunshine. By Monday morning, we will be seeing another cool down across the island and across Labrador. We're going to continue to see these cold temperatures. That means some snow possible for those of you on the west coast, northern peninsula, and potentially in the east as well. Just the slight chance that we'll see some flurries. Most of Labrador, you'll hang out You'll be seeing some sunshine rather for most of the afternoon. Again, temperatures will drop, minus single digits, minus double digits for the west coast. Labrador, you are looking at minus teens, and again, minus 20s for the northern portion of the Big Land. Now, as we head through the beginning of next week and, the middle of next week, temperatures will start to warm up by the time we get into Wednesday. Now, there's still a chance of some flurries, but it does look like Thursday, Friday look like we'll see those temperatures back up above zero with some more rain. Then we will see a similar temperature structure for central Newfoundland with temperatures around 0 degrees by the time we get into Wednesday. A little bit more below zero for western Newfoundland, but we will see some unsettled conditions right through Wednesday. Labrador, you are looking at your temperatures in the minus teens, minus single digits by the time we get to Wednesday. As far as our weather photo of the day goes, in North Harbour, this is a beautiful evening shot there with some snow and the sun setting. Thank you for that, Desiree. If you have any weather photos, you can send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Oh, it's a beautiful shot. Probably doesn't look like that anymore. That must have been a few days ago, I guess, maybe before all the rain that we had.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I'm sure most of, well, maybe not all of the snow, but it's
I
just
have
some
still
snow.
a lot of snow in my backyard, actually.
Yeah. It's going to take a while. We've lost a lot of it. But
We have, for sure.
It's going to take a while.
Yep, for sure. All right, well, that's it for us. Thank you so much for spending part of your evening with us, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend.